What was your point that you were making?
Okay, well, one thing I want to say, because I understand where you're coming from about, like, you know, men struggling to just even have sex. And one thing that not just me, but a lot of girls and a lot of people have talked about nowadays, especially, like, with my generation, is that guys are, like, less likely to ask you out on the date. Like, for me specifically, like, all the dates I've been on, I asked them out, you know? And so I understand your point where men are struggling to get laid, I guess.
Well, okay, that was in rebuttal to you saying that men, you wanted to fact check me, and you said that men are more promiscuous than women.
Well, men are more promiscuous than
They're not,
women.
because they don't have the capability of acting on it.
What do you mean, acting on it?
You need to be capable of... Men have a higher sex drive, yes. However, men are not as capable as women when it comes to actually acting on that promiscuity. It's very easy for a woman to get sex where it's difficult for a man to get sex. Any single girl here at this table, it's fucking 11 p.m. on a Tuesday. Like, you could go download Tinder right now, do tonight. Most dudes, like, could not just download Tinder.
Can, though.
No, no,
that.
you cannot just download Tinder and get laid at 11 p.m. as a dude.
But
Even really good-looking guys
do that.
No, it's
Yes.
no.
They do.
It's really not that easy. You think it is because you've had experiences with men who are capable of doing that, who are in the top 5, top 10% of men. But most men don't have like that pull with women. Women swipe no on 90% of men on dating apps.
And that's one thing I'm saying, though, is like, I can empathize for these men because, like I was saying, is one thing I noticed, like, when I was single, these guys that I was talking to, I asked them out on the date, you know. We didn't go to dinner or anything, but we just hung out and talked. And I thought that was just a me thing. Maybe they're scared to ask me first, or, you know, I just don't care. And so then I ended up, like, talking to a couple other girls, and, like, then I saw this video about this, about how guys are, like, maybe shy or scared, or they just don't like the girl, but to ask girls out now. And it's, like, becoming a thing, because I've just noticed this so much, like, this trend.
So you're arguing that men are much shyer and it's harder for them to get laid?
Well, I don't know why they're not going up to a woman. Like, what's holding them back from that?
Because of feminism and Me Too and all that shit? And because women will fucking put men on blast who, like, maybe awkwardly approach them?
Mm-hmm.
So men just,
So if you go up to a girl, his biggest worry is that she's just going to accuse him of a false allegation or something?
No, not necessarily, but like there's an added layer now with social media. A lot of men are like, oh, there's like this, because of we've seen what's happened, that, you know, there could be potentially a false accusation. There could be, or he could just get socially dragged and say, oh, this creepy guy approached me. He didn't do anything wrong, but like, oh, he's kind of creepy or whatever.
And what about it?
And also, like, women are pretty rude, like, a lot of the times if you approach them in person.
I think sometimes guys...
Not all the time, but women can be pretty rude.
But another thing, like, you know how women can be pretty rude sometimes.
So men can be rude too.
Not even just the rude thing, but guys can come off as creepy sometimes.
Sure.
You know, and I'm not saying, oh, if a guy, I dropped my credit card and he gives it back to me and I'm like, oh, he's such a creep, like, he followed me, you know, like something like that. Because I've seen, like, I saw this TikTok of something like that. This girl was, like, screaming because a guy was trying to give her card back, and I just was like, that's so pathetic.
Oh, well, I mean, there was some video of some woman in a parking lot,
yeah,
in like a
parking lot.
Walmart or something, and she was like, some
card.
guy approached her and she like yelled at him.
Yeah.
And like, that's the kind, and then you see like, you see also those gym TikTok videos where girls like work out in the gym, and then there's like a guy who like glances at them for like 1 second, and they fucking blast them. That's what guys are scared of. And these guys they're not even doing anything wrong. They're just like innocently, sometimes they're not even looking in their direction, but like, so there's like this social component now where like people are terrified to get like fucking exposed on social media. So, I mean, there's that. Also, you know, with dating apps, one of the reasons men aren't approaching women in person anymore is they don't really have to because dating apps exist.
It makes it convenient.
It's more convenient, so you can just like talk to chicks on dating apps. So, yeah.
I mean,
but what? Let's go back to your original point about you were fact checking me, saying that men are more promiscuous than women.
And the study dated till I think 2018. It was 1980 to 2018, and.
Who do you think has higher body counts? Like, if you had to take an average, like, who's more likely to have a high body count, a man or a woman?
Man.
Which,
man.
In average, no, it's actually more women have high body counts
really?
than do men have high body counts. Yeah. You'll have like a small tier of men who have like insanely high body counts, and then you'll have a much larger proportion of women who have like mid to high body counts, and then you'll have a ton of guys who like have low, and then like or just zero. Okay, let me ask you a question. Are you familiar with the term incel?
Yeah.
Involuntarily celibate.
Yeah.
Can a woman be involuntarily celibate?
I saw your video on this. Femcels don't exist. And fuck them. Yeah, I'm on Brian's side.
Okay.
Fuck
but
femcels.
why is there a phenomenon where there are men who are involuntarily celibate, who are incapable of getting laid, but that same phenomenon really does not exist for women? Wouldn't that suggest if men were more promiscuous than women, how can it also be true that there are men who are just incapable of getting laid?
I mean, we can't deny incels majority of the time are creeps. Awful people.
Not
Can you
necessarily.
just say that they don't have a nice body or they just don't have a nice personality? That's the only thing I could say to you.
They're on 4chan talking about
okay.
how much,
I doubt you want to be scrolling Instagram and see a dad bod as something that you would get arousal to. So as a female with ass and titties, that's the first thing that a guy would see before your personality. And that's what guys don't have. They don't have that ass and titties to wow a girl to, you know,
not a bad point.
to be like, oh, okay, like I'm trying to impress you. Like, you know how nature gives like people, like the peacocks, like feathers to show the females to, like, for a guy, they don't have that. They have to have a nice body, well, abs, six packs and stuff like that. But most people overlook the fact, and you just need to work on your personality, because that's what it is nowadays, because you're communicating. You're going to be with this person. If they have a shitty personality, why would you want to be or place yourself in a room with this person? So, I mean, you can love them with their dad bod, yes, eventually. But would it be an eye catcher? Wow, no, it's not. So average men who are looking with no money or a below minimum wage type of will be harder to find a female. Yes, I would acknowledge that.
So, I mean, to touch on what you said. So you said that there are things that men can do to like level up, like they can become funny or have a good personality or become successful. And maybe they're not the best looking guy, but they can do things through their personality or ambition or success or money or status to become attractive to women. The difference is that women, you can just be 18 and be attractive, or not even be physically attractive and still get like insane amounts of dicks. Like we've had, just add one thing. We've had women on the show who are like below average in physical appearance, who we had one girl say that she had a sex addiction and she was like overweight, no offense to her, but she was, I'm just stating the facts here. Don't shoot the messenger. She happened to be overweight. She wasn't particularly good looking. I'd say she would, I'm not going to rate her.
Was it the blue dress girl?
No, she was wearing a pink thing. In any case, look, overweight, not particularly attractive. She was able to sleep with 6 guys in the night. She slept with 6 dudes in the night. Her body count was 140.
All I gotta say.
Hold on. Her male looks equivalent would be incapable of doing that exact same thing.
But, like, is it women's fault that men are so desperate?
No.
And horny? Like, that's the thing, is I feel like in this argument sometimes, and I'm not saying you're doing this, but some people who do also argue with this, you know, take on what we're doing, is still try to blame it on us, you know? I mean, I don't know if you've seen that before, but it's like men are choosing to be easy. They are choosing the low of the low and having sex with her, but yet it's women's fault that
because
they
men
chose that.
Honestly, every guy I know so far that has openly talked about their body all have a bad body.
Yeah,
That's all I know.
Because I
All
think
the
men and
guys have a bad
I think
body.
generally
know.
speaking, men and women, like, we kind of view sex a little bit differently.
We have different priorities.
Different
Women don't
priorities.
prioritize
I do-
sex the same way that men do.
I mean-
And that's
I
Yeah.
do want
that's
to
the
chime in on that.
discrepancy.
And the only person that has really got to me and I have understood is Rollo, the Godfather pill of the red
Yeah.
pill. It's the age, the party season or the party theory
Party
where you're
is-
18 to 26. And after that, you're just, no guy would ever want you because you're already high mileage. And it's not the
That's not
option.
totally
Like as a
it.
female, like let's say a guy breaks your heart. Okay, well fuck that guy. There's like 6 other guys in my DM box that are screaming for my attention, so I'm gonna go entertain them. And what it basically is that like you understand like a fire, you know, if you throw more wood to the fire will go ablaze. But you know, once a certain, you know, time passes, the fire will slowly die down. And it's just like that with women's age. Like, you know, we're kind of like exotic fruit to guys. Like it's as ugly as I say it sounds like, it's exactly what it is.
But we also have different shortcomings too. I think like to kind of piggyback off of what both of you were saying. So I'm not going to deny that for average men, it's maybe more difficult to approach women or be successful sexually. But this is the way that I understand things, is that women are the gatekeepers of sex and men are the gatekeepers of relationships. So with that being said, I think that because women are prioritizing romance or love or something a bit more substantial, which is why they have a higher or a more rigorous criteria that you'd have to fit, or they have more conditions for their love. Whereas men, I think, is in this current space or in this, I guess, discussion, they are only looking for physical satiability. So I think that has something to do with the reason why we're not seeing eye to eye, is because we're not looking for the same things.
No, I would chime in on that. It is very true that we are not saying shit from eye to eye, but honestly, like, you know how women are more emotionally vested. When that just happens, you put everything in a relationship. When that just ends, and you know, you feel like your world is shattering on you, and you have like this big hole in your heart. And as a female, and you're in your parting years, you feel like you could fill that hole with more bodies, and you think that the more guys that you sleep with, they'll love you for who you are, which is not true. And it has been proven, but you know, it's more of like nobody thinks like that at that moment. It's like, I'm hurt, I wanna start over, I don't know where to stand on. So they usually seek comfort in physical affection, and what you get out of physical affection is through sex. And I would say that, you know, after that one night, we as females who are under, you know, people with under 10 body counts, they still get to have that, you know, emotional connection with that person. But people who are like 10 over will not start losing how to get connections with the guy, and they will never see the guy as relationship material.
I also think that another component to add to this is kind of like the dynamic between men and women. I think that there is, because there's like a discrepancy between what we're looking for, I think that there's kind of like this like projection process that's happening. So like I think that it's really frustrating for men to be hit with rejection, because what they're looking for is something that's very, very intimate. And a lot of these behaviors that we see from both men and women are fueled by women's having to navigate a new space where, because before, women's value was directly derived from how much a man valued them, or like how attractive they are, and that was basically just what it was for a long time. And so now we're in a different space where we have to find our value, and we're navigating this without having it be just our looks or just what we can give physically. So I think that that's a new element that we haven't really discussed a lot, but I think it really a lot of these behaviors, both the desperate ones on both ends, derive from this particular thing.
I would say it's more like a little sad stage, like the little time period where you are trying to figure yourself out and what to do, like the next forward. And in those times, a lot of thoughts are in your head of what you can do, what you will do, or what's going to happen in the future. And I feel like those people who have been in toxic relationships feel this more, either in the relationship themselves or just in general afterwards, that they can't find that like social placement. For guys, when you do hurt a guy, they just do like go back to the gym, you know, work on themselves, family, and then until they find another female or they are more comfortable with themselves to access, let a female access them emotionally.
Everyone has their own process with dealing with pain or kind of dealing with heartbreak, and I think that a lot of it has to do with I guess maybe I'm also kind of putting my own projection on it, because like when I got broken up with or whatever, I didn't have to fill a void, but I know that that's how a lot of women feel like they're being valued or loved, because that's what they're seeking, right? Is like this emotional comfort or something of the sort. But
Tiffany, what do you think?
What?
Huh?
I'm thinking about driving home. That's what I'm thinking
Oh,
about.
word. Okay. Anybody here on this side of the table want to weigh in on the conversation? Any thoughts?
Sure, I'll volunteer.
Volunteers trivia.
Isn't it like what's that saying where a lock that can be opened by any key is like a useless lock, and the key that can...
What
How
did
is
you-
that
The key
stupid?
to lock method about human bodies.
No, it's just females in general, because us as females have that opening in who we choose to open our legs for. We have that option. It's a choice that we have. It's not the guys that are trying to force you to have sex with you. It's you choosing to take off your clothes and to have this like moment with this person.
It's an analogy to call a woman one ran through.
Yes,
and
because it's
loose.
your choice to open your legs
Do
for
you
these
know
men.
Female biology.
What are you
Wait,
talking
what?
about? How do females have sex?
Do you think you get loose?
You have
when
to
you have
enter the
sex?
key inside the lock hole.
No, it's an analogy. She's using an analogy.
I know. I'm talking about the analogy, and the analogy is to call a woman ran through.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes,
so-
because she
and then
chooses to
say-
open her legs. So the fun
It-
part about Disney,
I don't think she got the
um,
analogy.
all the females in Disney are hardworking. They do dedicate themselves to their dream. They don't let the night squad run through them first before they're finding Prince Charming. Just letting you know that. You think a Disney princess lets the whole kingdom access her? No.